All right, guys, so we got to talk about Jussie Smollett once again, because one of the jurors for the Jussie Smollett trial is now speaking out and giving us his thoughts as to what the jurors may have been thinking while they were deliberating about whether or not he was guilty of faking his own hate crime. Now, one of these jurors, he happens to be black, the guy that's speaking out, and I found his perspective to be interesting, and I wanted to give my opinions on it. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and roll the clip.
Andre Hope says he took no pleasure in finding Smollett guilty, calling the entire case sad. Hope says the evidence against the actor was overwhelming, but he's still left with one unanswered question.
I still have not figured out a motive to why this had to even happen. He was a star.
Hope says he'd never seen Empire or knew much about Smollett or his case before ending up on the jury 2 weeks ago.
I was shocked. I was completely shocked that I was even picked. At that point, I took it very seriously.
The 63-year-old Bellwood resident and retired Cook County Forest Preserves employee who's married with 2 sons around Smollett's age says the actor's claim that the Osendero brothers attacked him for real simply made no sense.
2 o'clock in the morning, cold outside. When you just use your common sense as what's there, yeah, it didn't add up.
Hope says the noose used in the staged attack was a critical piece of evidence. After wearing the rope home, Smollett claimed he took it off, then put it on for police to see.
As an African-American person, I'm not putting that noose back on at all.
Hope says the jury never argued, was never deadlocked, and simply took its time to be thorough during 9.5 hours of deliberations. He praised his fellow jurors, but said it was disappointing that he was the lone African-American on the panel.
How can we say that this is a jury of your peers when there's only one African-American? And there were plenty there, so you could have got 2, 3, 4. African-Americans can handle the truth too, and we can give an impartial judgment on a case.
Hope says he thinks the actor has lost enough and doesn't deserve prison time. And he says he hopes at some point Smollett gets a second chance in Hollywood.
All right, guys, so you seen that, you heard that. Now, I found his thoughts to be interesting because they do align with some other accounts I've read in which jurors have talked about how they basically thought that Jussie really didn't have that much of a defense. Okay, however, it wasn't clear cut when the jury was deliberating that the prosecution had proved beyond a reasonable doubt that he faked this hate crime. But it also didn't sound like it was too contentious either, right? It didn't sound like they were yelling across the table at each other as one side was like, oh, no, he definitely faked it. And then another side was like, no, he definitely didn't fake it, right? It doesn't sound like there was any of that, right? It just kind of sounded like they all kind of came together and was like, this guy really doesn't have much evidence or anything like that to suggest that what he's saying is actually true, okay? Versus the prosecution that does have witnesses, the Osendaro brothers, they have evidence, they have everything, and they just made better arguments, right? Now, in regards to what he's saying about the inconsistencies, right? Like, I think he's, like, correct, right? Anybody with common sense, okay, would know, okay, why in the world would you put a noose back around your neck after somebody commits a hate crime against you, right? Like, why would you put that noose back on your neck? If that was a real thing, I don't think I would have that thing anywhere near my neck, right? The fact that he put it back on his neck for the police to see was sketchy in and of itself, right? That's just the type of stuff that you hear about, that you see, where you just like, okay, I got doubts, right? He talked about it being 2 o'clock in the morning, all this other stuff. Okay. Again, I just find it interesting how this guy, again, who happens to be black, saw this as kind of like a shut and close thing. That's kind of what it seems like, at least from his perspective. Again, maybe not the whole jury, but that's the way it seems like he saw it. But yet you had all these other people when this happened from the get-go, trying to claim that this was actually a real thing, taking it serious as if like it was credible from the get-go, and it just wasn't. It never ever made sense, right? Never made sense. But, then he goes and starts talking about race, right? And how, there's only one black juror. And my response to that is this. Well, I mean, listen, I feel like there was a lot of black people that were invested in the whole, Jussie thing. It may have been hard for them to find black jurors. I don't know, right? But what I do know is that if it was more than 2 black jurors on the jury, then it would have been 16% of the jury, which would have been an overrepresentation of people on the jury, right? So I don't think having just one black juror on the jury is really that big of a deal. But, you know, hey, I can understand why he would feel that way. However, what I don't agree with him on, and what I'm starting to see a lot here, is this idea that Jussie should be forgiven, or that we should go lightly on him for what he did, right? And not just he's saying that, but you also have Beyonce's mom, Tina Knowles, speaking out saying that Jussie Smollett should be treated with compassion during sentencing. Now, I'm going to tell y'all right off the bat, I disagree with this. And the reason why is because what he tried to do, right? He tried to play up on race relations, and also try to play up on, you know, the whole, you know, LGBTQ thing. He tried to play up on all the things that were going on in America that are still going on today, that is causing a lot of division to advance his own career, right? So when that last juror was talking about, well, what was the motive, right? Why would he do this? He was a star. Well, it's simple. Because of greed, right? It was greed. That's why he did it. He saw it as a way for him to advance his career, to victimize himself, to say, hey, I was a victim of this hate crime, you know, put me on TV, elevate me because I'm a victim, right? That's the way he saw it. And that's why he did it. He thought it would advance his career. And in my opinion, right, him doing that, also considering the fact that people faking hate crimes has become like a trend in this country, is something that we should punish, because it takes away from actual real hate crimes, right? The reason why a lot of people, you know, some people tend to doubt hate crimes when they happen, okay, is because there's so many of them that are just proven to be fake, okay? So when an actual hate crime happens, when an actual real instance of racism happens, yeah, we should take it serious, right? We should take it serious. But it's hard to do that when most of the time it's fake, or put it this way, when there's a lot of incidents that's popping up in which it happens to be fake. Again, it takes away from the real victims. Okay, and that doesn't just apply to people that happen to be black. It can apply to people that happen to be white, LGBTQ, whoever, right? He really threw a lot of people under the bus with what he did. But let's read here about, you know, how Tina Knowles wants Jussie to get off. Tina Knowles, the mother of superstar Beyonce, believes Jussie Smollett should be treated with compassion during his sentencing. The actor was convicted of 5 counts of disorderly conduct for lying to Chicago police about being the victim of a racist anti-gay attack near his home in downtown Chicago. The 39-year-old maintains his innocence, and his attorney has said he will appeal the verdict. While the charges carry a possible sentence of 3 years behind bars, legal experts have said the former Empire star is unlikely to get prison time for the low-level felonies. Instead, they believe he's more likely to be sentenced to probation and ordered to perform community service. Again, I don't think that's enough. Okay, I don't think that's enough. I think he should definitely serve some prison time, right? At least 6 months to a year. Okay, he really should. But let's read more here. Knowles took to Instagram on Monday and posted a screenshot of an article about the case. It also cites the case of Amy Cooper, a white woman arrested last year for calling 911 on a black bird watcher in New York City's Central Park. Her criminal case was thrown out in February after completing a diversionary counseling program that prosecutors said was meant to educate her on the harm of her actions. Assistant District Attorney Joanne Eluzzi Orban said Manhattan prosecutors were satisfied with Cooper's participation in the program and were not seeking to pursue the case any further. Quote, the article goes on to say that both were wrong, but Jussie faces possible prison time, and Amy Cooper, the woman who called the police and lied about the black man that was bird watching in Central Park, was trying to attack her, captioned the 67-year-old, leading to the potential arrest of a man where in the history of black men in custody could have led to his death, she said. Amy Cooper, she got off with public service. We will see the outcome of this for this black man. Will he get the same compassion as Amy Cooper? All right, so here's the issue here, right? She's, again, trying to play up the whole, well, you know, he's a black man and he should get off the same way a white woman did, as if they both did the same thing. Okay, she didn't fake a hate crime against herself. Okay, that's not what she did. She called the police on a man, right, who happens to be black. Okay, and she did it unjustly. Now, she was charged with a misdemeanor for reporting a false crime. Jussie was charged with felonies. Okay, he said he got beat up. Right? They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. And in her case, she wasn't necessarily trying to fight it. Right? She didn't go into court and tell a bunch of lies and make up stuff in order to try to get off. That's not what she did. They're two different things. Jussie not only staged a hate crime against himself, when he got caught, charged, and subsequently went to trial, he continued to lie. He continued to double down on his lie, even though it made absolutely no sense, right? And he had plenty of opportunities to get off. I believe that the Chicago police actually said that if he just would have been upfront about it from the get-go, they would have let him off, right? But it's the fact that he kept basically trying to go on with it and wasn't really trying to cooperate. That's when they basically had to charge him, okay? So Jussie had plenty of time to get off, but he wanted to continue to go with this. Knowles said that she's not condoning Smollett's actions. However, she is wondering if his race will ultimately result in a harsher sentencing. No, it ain't got anything to do with his race. It's everything to do with what he did and how he went about it. Ain't got nothing to do with his race. Quote, "I'm not condoning what Mr. Smollett was found guilty of," wrote the matriarch. "I am just asking, will he get the same compassion and understanding of knowingly lying to police?" She also cited Kyle Rittenhouse, the 18-year-old who was acquitted on all charges in November after testifying he acted in self-defense in the deadly Kenosha shootings. That verdict was met with anger and disappointment among those who saw Rittenhouse as a vigilante and a wannabe cop. Rittenhouse was originally charged with homicide, attempted homicide, and reckless endangering for killing 2 men and wounding a third with an AR-style semi-automatic rifle in the summer of 2020 during a tumultuous night of protest over the shooting of a black man, Jacob Blake, a white Kenosha police officer. Rittenhouse, a then 17-year-old former police youth cadet, said that he went to Kenosha to protect property from rioters, but that he came under attack and fear for his life. He is white, as were those he shot. Quote, "Kyle walked free after killing 2 people because the jury had compassion," questioned Knowles. Well, no, it's not because the jury had compassion. It's because it was a clear-cut, obvious case of self-defense. That's why he walked free, right? Again, I don't understand these people. They don't really understand the facts of the things that they're talking about, but yet they speak out on them as if they know, okay? Again, that Amy Cooper case and Jussie Smollett were not the same thing at all. It's not even the same level. Again, is what Amy Cooper did bad? Yeah, it was bad for her to do that, okay? And she got her punishment for it. She took a training, okay? And now she realized that her actions were wrong and she's done with it. Jussie, on the other hand, again, basically tried to turn the whole country against each other, right, with this crime, okay? He went as far as to fake it, to have himself beat up, okay? That is the issue. Those are two different things. Rittenhouse was self-defense. Again, these things are not similar at all. Lawsuits that were on hold pending the outcome of the criminal case concerning Smollett may now move forward. They include a lawsuit the city of Chicago filed against Smollett to recoup the $130,000 it spent investigating what police initially believed was a terrible hate crime. Judge James Lynn set a post-trial hearing for January 27th and said he would schedule Smollett's sentencing at a later date. As for Smollett, it is unlikely he will kick off his successful Hollywood career anytime soon. After prosecutors said the alleged attack was a hoax, Smollett lost his role on Empire. He later told jurors, "I've lost my livelihood." Yeah, so, I mean, look, that's just kind of how it goes. Because, again, you faked the hate crime, right? That basically pitted the country against each other, okay? So, to Tina Knowles' point here, no, he shouldn't get off. Okay, he should definitely do prison time for it. If anything, because, again, it sets an example that this is not okay to do. It is not okay for you to fake this stuff because you take away from those who are actually really experiencing this stuff, and it definitely does happen in this country. But, again, we can't take it serious because you have people like Jussie that fake it to try to promote and advance his own career. So, yeah, I mean, look, no, they should not go light on him. And, like I said, at the very least, in my opinion, I think 6 months to a year would probably be fair. If he gets more than that, I'm not really going to complain, but I'm just saying 6 months to a year, in my opinion, would probably be fair, plus community service and trainings and all the other stuff that they do. So if Jussie didn't lie so much and he was a lot more forthcoming with the truth, I probably have a different opinion, right? I would probably have a more open heart for forgiveness. I feel like 6 months to a year is already kind of light and kind of forgiving, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, if he just didn't take it as far as he took it, then I would definitely be more inclined to have more compassion for him. But he doubled down on it, and he's not really remorseful, it doesn't seem, for what he did. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.